Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Maxx-solar-online Academy's first Let's Talk About It. My colleague Johann and I will today talk about the topic of e-mobility. But to just make sure this is only our personal opinion, not on a well-researched, high-level basis. We don't want to criticize anything or advertise anything. It's purely just sitting down and talking about our thoughts on e-mobility. So let's kick right off. Johann, you are driving an electrical car, as far as I know. Tell us, how is it?
Good morning, Christine. Thank you for having me. Yes, I've been driving a Renault Zoe for the last 2 years. And I always say, once you've driven electric, you'll never want to drive anything else. The power is instantaneous and there's a lot of power and it's completely silent. So it's a very nice driving experience and very comfortable, no vibrations or noises or anything. So definitely, yeah, would recommend everybody to try it out.
Yeah, to be honest, I was just recently be able or invited to be inside of an electric car. It was my first time last year. So I enjoyed the Renault, the Zoe. I also had some Tesla experiences, and I have to admit, yes, it is a different feeling, even if you're not just driving, but just sitting there. It's so silent and smooth, and that was quite a fantastic experience. Yeah, that's true.
Mm. And it's
Yeah.
also nice driving behind the electric car and not having to breathe in fumes from a combustion engine.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
also think the silence is a big, big, nice nice. I really enjoy that they're so quiet because the sounds here in the city when everybody is driving with diesel, it's so loud and annoying and smells bad. True.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
can't be good for you.
No, I guess so. No, for sure. Um, So you last time we spoke, you told me you also did your some calculations recently by comparing because I think you also have a car that's still driven by diesel or fuel. So you did a calculation on what is more better for the purse, so to say, for the money
That
in the bank.
that's right. Yes. Yeah. So my wife still drives a Renault Kadjar, just because we couldn't afford a big electric car yet. Um, but yeah, very nice car. Drives very nice. To fill it up cost about 110 euros for a 50-liter tank, and we typically get about 600 kilometers per tank. So that works out to 12 kilometers per liter. And if you work that back, it works out to 18.3 euros per 100 kilometer. In comparison to the Zoe, where I get about, it takes about 17 kilowatt hours for 100 kilometers. And
Mhm.
Germany's got some of the most expensive electricity in the world at 32 euro cents per kilowatt hour. And
Mm.
even at that rate, it works out at 5.4 euros per 100 kilometers. So comparing 5.4 euros to 18.3, that's 3.3 times cheaper driving electric than driving a fuel car.
Yeah, and I mean,
Yeah.
for example, you have the great opportunity to also charge your car free at Max Solar, which I think also other companies offer that recently to their employees to say, hey, you can do free charging here if you go for the electric car. So you even save more, but just in general, if you would not have that possibility, you still would save a lot of money. Yeah.
That's
Yes,
true,
for
and
sure. Mm.
unfortunate that our company offers that. But even if people's got a solar system on their house, they're also able to charge from free from solar power, which
Yeah,
is the idea.
yeah.
And also, fortunately, the electrical grid in Germany, more than 50% of electricity used in the last year is generated from renewable sources. So it's clean energy. It's not
Mhm.
electricity that's generated by coal and then you charge your car with it and it's not so clean anymore. So if it's generated by renewable energy sources and you use it, then it's a much lower carbon footprint per kilometer drive.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I also see, there is always pro and cons, and my con would be at the moment, like you said, e-cars are best for people with a solar system, and it's super. I mean, it's so nice, and it's wonderful that those people can recharge their cars with their own energy that they produce themselves. But for people, for example, like me and maybe also you, I live in a big city, and here we have just one or two charging stations, and like 4,000 or 5,000 people for one charging station. So that will be a crowded place if we all would now jump to e-mobility. So I see there a lot of demand to, install more of this, also install more carports, solar carports where things can be charged then also for a lower price, clean. So these are the things I also see a little bit critical, so that not everybody has the access at the moment to e-mobility. Of course, what I think is also nice in the city, we have these cargo bikes, or I would call them cargo bikes. They're e-driven bikes, and
Yeah.
people drive their children, in this cargo
Yeah,
thing,
I've seen that. That's
or
quite
the big
cool.
groceries, and I think that's nice as well. So I think e-mobility should be also thought in the bigger picture of the overall transportation and city planning, and that everything works nicely together. Yeah.
Yeah, there's still a lot of work to be done expanding the charging infrastructure. But the idea is best that you charge during the day. So at the company, if you drive to the company, they'll have charging points there, and you can use the solar power directly while you work, and then you go home. And if you need to charge at home as well, you can plug it into a normal wall plug, just an extension lead or something, and plug it in a wall plug, and overnight leave it to charge, and that's more than enough for it to fill it up.
But isn't that quite expensive then? Because I know the German electricity prices are very high, and charging a full car, is it still
Yeah,
then less than fuel?
yeah, no,
What do you
definitely.
think? Yeah. Yeah.
So as I said, even though at 32 cents per kilowatt hour, and if you use 17 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometer, it works out to 5.4 euros per 100 kilometers, compared to 18 of a normal fuel car. So it's still 1/3 of the cost of fuel. So
Yeah. Amazing,
yeah,
isn't it? No? Yeah. So it
yeah,
would still
definitely
be
makes
worth it
sense.
if you have the plug nearby. It's
Yeah,
still cheaper. It is still cheaper than going to the um, fuel station. Yeah.
definitely.
Interesting. Very
And
interesting. Yeah.
even if you charge at the fast charging points, if you
Mhm.
go and do your shopping, 20 minutes or so, you can plug it into the fast charging point. And that will be enough to charge your car up to about 80%. There the cost is up to 70 cents per kilowatt hour, so a bit
Mhm.
more, but still a lot cheaper than fuel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Cool.
and yeah, with the fuel prices going more than double in the last year. I think everybody's
Mm.
looking for opportunities to save on fuel costs.
Yeah. And of course, if we want to reach our environmental goals, and the climate change is still a pressing topic, we
Mm,
should think of alternative ways. Also, not just cars, but also e-buses, or
mm,
other electrical taxis,
mm.
anything. The more we change, and also more public transportation, by cable cars, or however you call that, trams.
Yeah, yeah,
That would be nice. Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
let's see.
definitely. The best car is no car. So if you can get
Yeah.
along with public
I mean,
transport or e-bikes, even better.
yeah, but for you, for example, you are more in the countryside. I think
Mm,
this is still very challenging, or a bit challenging, because the distances, and you have hills. Here, for example, in the city, yes, we can go for a bus, we can go for a tram, we can, if it's not too dangerous, go with the bike.
mm,
Yes, but in the remote areas where you have to drive longer distance to reach your company, I think it's still a little bit of a challenge. You would need an e-car then,
Yeah,
or a car.
definitely the public infrastructure is not that great on the countryside yet.
Yeah.
So.
We hope for the best.
Mm, mm,
But um, so I have these discussions often with people who are like, yeah, e-car is nice, but when I want to drive to, for example, from me here where I live to home, it's like 350 kilometers.
mm,
So I would probably have to stop at one point and charge.
mm,
And
mm,
then people are like, oh, but then you have to wait for hours and that,
mhm,
I just want to drive through. And I was like, yeah,
mm,
I would normally probably stop anyway for,
mm,
just stopping, refreshing the mind, getting a
mm,
coffee,
mm.
whatever. And why not charging a car then? But I also see how long do we have? So the quick charges take 20 minutes, you said,
Yeah,
to
20
recharge?
minutes to charge you go up to 80%, and then it takes a bit longer to charge the last 20%. But if you just charge it to up to 80%, you've got mostly enough range.
Mm,
Um, yeah, and most people, well, I can't drive longer than 2 hours. Then I need a break. I need
mm,
some coffee or something to eat, and then while you take a break, you can just plug it in for 20 minutes, and then have something to
yeah,
eat and drive further. So
yeah, do
it's
some
no
stretching.
problem. That as well. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, to
yeah,
just, refresh your mind to
yeah,
stay awake. Yeah,
yeah.
so, but still, I read a nice, interesting article from a person from, I hope I don't mistaken it now, from Switzerland. And
Hmm.
he had the Kona. Is
Okay.
it Hyundai? Hyundai?
I think so. Yeah.
Yes, the Kona. And he was like really noting down every
Hmm.
kilometer and how far he was able to go and how long it did to take him to recharge and everything. And he was very pleased because he was really able to do all the long distance things as well by just stopping for half an hour, recharging, and then he was even able to go to Germany and further, and it was
Mm,
not
mm,
a big challenge. So I was quite impressed by that because I was also more aware of, okay, if you have to buy an expensive car in order to get long distances.
mm,
This
mm,
is
mm.
my current not or was my current knowledge. But the Kona, I think, is not that expensive compared to a Tesla, for example.
Okay, that's interesting to know. I didn't even know about that. Because the Tesla, yeah, it's very nice. It's got a range of 600 kilometers, but it's very expensive. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
30,000 euros or more.
Oh.
Well, I paid about 7,500 for my Renault Zoe.
Yeah.
But I just use it to go to work and back, and that's all I need. And it's got a range of 100 kilometers, and that's more than enough for the 20 kilometers I drive to work and back. So
Yeah.
I charge it every 3 days or so, and it's okay. We won't use it really for long distances. Then we still use the petrol car. But as you said, even the long range electric cars are becoming more affordable. So
Yeah.
soon, hopefully, we'll be able to afford a long range electric car as well.
Yeah. Which is not so costly. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing I also at least in my point of view, this is the challenge. I think the Zoe was a used car, right?
That's
A
right.
used
Yeah,
electric
yeah,
car. Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, having a new electrical car, it's still a little bit of a investment
Mm,
at the
mm,
moment in Germany. I don't know how it is in other countries, but in Germany for sure.
mm,
And
mm,
then you have to be sure that you have a charging station at hand
mm,
or
mm.
your own solar.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, yeah,
Yeah, fortunately, in Germany, there's second-hand electric cars available that's still quite good, like the Nissan Leafs and the Zoes that's been here for quite a few years, and that's affordable. Under 10,000 rand, you can get the Zoe with the long range 44 kilowatt hours battery. Um, yeah,
10,000
we
rand are
10,000
in
euros.
euros. 10,000 euros. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's
Yeah, that's
about
good. I mean,
170,000 rand, which is very affordable for most people
yeah,
for a new car. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, other cars cost also. that much or more. Oh,
That's right.
petrol
Yeah.
cars. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's comparable with petrol cars. Unfortunately, countries like South Africa, they don't have that second-hand electric car market yet, and
Ah.
all the
Hmm.
new cars are still also very much not affordable. Like the Mini Cooper goes for about 600,000, or the BMW i3 750,000, which is not affordable for most people. So hopefully soon they'll also get the more affordable second-hand cars. Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah, the
yeah.
second-hand cars, I mean, some of them they stay for 20 years and they
Mm,
run,
mm.
without any. Sometimes, of course, you have to do some repairing, but then they still go very well. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good
That's
market,
right.
I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's also
So,
another advantage of the electric cars that I didn't even mention is there's much less maintenance cost. You don't have oil changes or filter changes or anything of the motor that can break because it's so simple. A lot less parts moving things that can go wrong. So a lot
yeah,
less maintenance. You still got the normal maintenance like wiper blades and brakes and suspension and all that obviously that can go wrong. But in
yeah.
general, the maintenance cost is also a lot less.
Okay. Yeah, that's good
Mm-hmm.
to know as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that you don't have to do a lot of oil checks and,
Mm-hmm.
maintenance things. But are there some checks with the electrical parts, with the batteries or something? Or is it if it's, I mean, when does the battery run out? When is the point where it's not really
Mm-hmm.
recharging anymore or going down in
Yeah.
um
As you use it, the capacity does decrease, uh, and when it decreased by 20%, then it's considered end of life. Then it needs to be replaced.
oh,
Um, yeah, but I'm leasing the battery from Renault, so for a small amount per month, and if it reaches that point, they will just replace it at no cost.
okay. Okay. But you're still using the one you have
Yeah,
for
yeah.
for how long are you driving now? This one?
The
This
car
battery?
is 8 years old now,
Mm-hmm.
and it's still at 90% of its usable life.
Yeah, I mean that's
So
good.
it can probably go another 5 years. So it does decrease, but it takes a long time. Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean I didn't know. I don't have any clue. So that's interesting to know. Yeah, that it's not like 4 years or 5 years, but
Mm,
it's 10, 15, and then you have to maybe replace the battery. I mean,
that's
the
right. Yeah.
technology for sure will improve, and there will be new things that probably will come. So I think the lifespan of the battery will be also longer in the future. It's my hope.
That's right. Yeah. Currently, it's got about 7,000 cycles, so easily 10 years or more that it will last before you need to replace it. Mm,
Cool.
mm, mm.
That's very interesting. So now we talked a lot of Germany.
Mhm.
Um, but as I know, and maybe some of the listeners already also know, Johann is from South Africa originally. It would be now, I think, interesting to compare or to just chat about the e-mobility in Africa or South Africa. How is it developing there? What do you know about the current development? So, for example, I was in Rwanda not too long ago, and there I was picked up from the airport by an electric car. And
Okay.
that was quite surprising, as a solar person, you got picked up by an electric car. I felt fantastic.
Mm,
And as I said, it was smooth, it was nice, it was quiet, it was so nice. And this car was a, how you say in English, Volkswagen, so VW, Golf.
VWI3, yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like that. And it was really new and very nice. And I saw at this convention center where we were, there were also two charging stations. But next
Mm,
to that, I
mm,
did not see any more. But I
mm-hmm,
was quite impressed that I at least saw a charging station and had these
mm,
electric
mm,
cars. I was not aware that, for example, in Rwanda already e-mobility is a topic. I
mm-hmm,
mean,
mm-hmm.
I have never been there, so I did not know. Um, How is it in South Africa? So I read recently an article, a very interesting article by the UN Climate Change Africa Week in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And there, of course, they said that the decarbonization of the transportation and in general the cars is very, very important in order to reach the temperature goals of the Paris Agreement.
Mm-hmm.
And that I have to read it out because I think that's a very interesting number and we should discuss that. Today's transport sector accounts for around a quarter of energy-related CO2 emission globally and is almost completely dependent on fossil fuels. So I think I didn't know that, to be honest. I mean, for sure, we all drive and everywhere people drive cars and even more. And in this interesting article, there was also mentioned one example of a country implementing sustainable transport policies is South Africa, where the transportation sector accounts for 10% of total emission. The country has put in place a policy to boost e-mobility through differentiated taxation on vehicle registration. At the same time, charging infrastructure has grown exponentially, with charging stations deployed every 200 to 300 kilometers on major highways. Such policies can and must be scaled up and replicated in the region. I did not know that, to be honest. Every 200 to 300 kilometer a charging station?
Yeah, so along all the big highways in South Africa, the N1, N2, N3, they've installed charging infrastructure, fast chargers. Yeah.
Very nice.
And yeah, so you are able to travel throughout South Africa with electric cars already. So it's not that every town and so on's got charging infrastructure like here, but they are building it out. Unfortunately, they've got a problem in South Africa where 90% of electricity still comes from coal, and that's very unreliable and lots of load shedding, not enough power. So they also got a lot of work to do to build out renewable energy, wind and solar. Yeah.
So does that mean, for example, if I'm driving now on that highway and I want to charge my car because I have to, and there is a blackout, I am then sitting there and waiting in vain
Unfortunately,
at the highway,
moment,
is it like
that's
that? Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
yes,
Okay.
that's a bit of a
I mean,
problem in South Africa at the
yeah.
moment.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah,
you have a lot of sunshine, so I
yeah,
hope that
exactly.
the solar will then. Wouldn't it be nice to have, for example, at these charging station, a carport where you then can park under the solar and you can directly charge from the sun? I mean, that would be even better also, so you don't have to fit into the grid then, maybe.
Exactly. That's ideal option is to have
Yeah.
those solar carports with batteries on site and be able to power the charging stations with that. That's a ideal solution.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also having an energy mix that's not just reliable 90% on coal, but on lots of different sources like wind, biogas, solar, battery storage, and all the technologies work together to create a much more reliable, sustainable grid.
Yeah, that is the goal then. So that means you also can get e-cars in South Africa. Are they made in South Africa or are they like shipped in from outside then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they're all imported at the moment. But
Yeah.
as I said, there's nothing really at the moment that I saw that's affordable.
Mm.
Yeah, it's mostly 600,000 and up. So there's
So
also
this is
still
600,000 is like
opportunity.
60,000 euros, something? 50,000
Yeah,
euros?
50,000 euros about.
50,000 euros. Yeah. Pooh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's quite, I mean, yeah.
Mm.
Pooh. But still, I mean, if the policy is in place, I think it's still a good start. So I always think the best way of getting the change is if the politics and the governments are behind it and starting with giving the opportunity. Okay, the policy is in place. Now we must, now it's the time to then act, and other parties can become involved and start building these things and
Yeah,
development
exactly.
can grow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Okay.
also with the fuel price doubling in South Africa as well for more than 24 rand per liter now, that's also a big driver. So not just
Okay.
environmental benefits, but also financial. It makes a lot more
Financial.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, some articles I read recently to be a little bit prepared for our talk. I also saw that Africa has really cool African solutions by startups who are, really trying to invent small cargo bikes that
Mm,
are
mm,
renewable or driven by renewable energy. Some of them had a solar panel on their roofs, like these small, I don't know how that's called, like bikes where people can sit in the back. And
mm,
with this, you can drive them or drive groceries from distance to distance as long as the sun is shining. It works probably very well.
mm-hmm.
So, I mean, these are the solutions who, which, which I think could also be interesting as an alternative to cars, to also have the e-bikes and the e-motorbikes, because, for example, as far as I know, Kenya, they often have also these taxi bikes, the
Mm-hmm.
boda boda, which is all driven by fuel. And if they can change to electric
Mm.
driven e-motorbikes, that would be also fantastic
Yeah,
and reduce
definitely.
a lot of CO2. Yeah.
Yeah, I know in Santon they've got these free-wheeled bicycles that they drive people around, but also very noisy, very polluting two-stroke engines. So if that can be replaced with electric bikes, it would be much better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but also for rural areas, that's the ideal solution. Instead of cars, using solutions like that for
Yeah.
transportation. Yeah.
Yes. We're also not so heavy on needing the energy, because big
Mm.
cars need a lot of energy because they're heavy. If you get more light,
Mm-hmm.
then you probably don't need that much of energy and can maybe run even longer distances then. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was still quite impressed to read that South Africa is, on the way of putting things into place. Do you know of other African countries who are currently trying to integrate e-mobility or are on the way of thinking about how to make it happen with, grid instabilities? Like I said, load shedding is a topic often, and how to make it work with if everybody's charging. I mean, this was a topic in Germany as well. If everybody is charging now, the whole Germany will go black.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I don't think that everybody will plug in at the same time, but okay. So is that really a topic that if everybody plugs in, that then we get the big power failure here? What is your opinion on that? Do you know something
Mm,
about that?
mm. Yeah, the grid definitely needs to be expanded and improved, but there's all the newer solar systems got very intelligent management systems that
Uh-huh.
manages the flow from the solar to the batteries to the car to the other
Oh.
users in the house. So and also the export of energy. The grid can request from all the batteries or the solar to export or to stop exporting if there is too much electricity.
Oh.
So it's becoming very intelligent, the flow of energy and the management of that. And all the manufacturers got equipment that can communicate with each other, the batteries, with the solar system, with the car charger, with the grid export, and all that. So yeah.
Okay. That's amazing.
Mm, mm,
Yeah, of course. Yes, the things getting more and more intelligent and interconnected. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's very interesting. So that's only then for newer, let's say newer or more recently installed solar
Mm, mm, mm.
related. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we need more solar. That's that's a fact.
That's right. Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah,
need more solar in everywhere, just
yeah,
Germany
yeah.
and in South Africa. Yeah.
Yeah.
See?
I saw that
Yeah.
all in Intersolar this year in Munich, how the technology is developing and communicating with each other, and the energy
Mm,
market where you get paid different tariffs depending when you export to the grid and all that. So it's becoming much more intelligent and dynamic and communicating with each other.
yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that would be also a nice next talk maybe
Yeah.
about, how these things interact, how and what kind of systems are out there or softwares, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that the grid is also getting more intelligent.
Mm-hmm.